So one of the common reasons of car crashes on the roads is the blind zone. Yeah, and the blind zone appears when your side mirrors are not set properly. In this video, I will show you how to set them properly and reduce the chances of getting in a car crash. So the first thing you need to do is to adjust the seat. This is the most important part because of the adjustment of the seat depends on how high you're sitting or low you're sitting, and depends the angle that you're watching into the mirror. So adjust the seat to sit comfortably. Maybe I'll make another video to show you how to correctly adjust the seat. So subscribe on this channel and don't miss that video. Now let's focus on mirrors. So you have 3 mirrors in your car: the right, the left, and the center mirror. They all form the system that basically allows you to observe 360 degrees around your car. But you still have the blind zones, and you will have them. But our task is to reduce these blind zones as much as it's possible. So now when your seat is adjusted, let's look at what and how you can do. First of all, turn the ignition, because without that the mirror settings will not work. Now in the Honda car you will have the switch like this. You switch to left, and look what you're doing. You need to see just a little part of your car, of the back of your car, just a very little part in this mirror. Now when you're sitting in the adjusted seat, you need to see maybe a 10% or maybe even 5% of the mirror should be covered by the body of your car. If your mirror makes like that, you just lose all this potential territory of the mirror that you can use for seeing the cars behind you. This is a very important thing. So first, just set the mirror so that it shows you maybe 5% of the body of your car, and all the other place of the mirror works to show you the blind zone. Now, when it's done, your task is to find some object in this mirror and make sure that it's right in the center. So I don't have any cars here, unfortunately, but I have some kind of fence there, and I want to make sure that it's right in the center of the mirror. So now you see quite a lot of this zone that we usually call a blind zone. And you can see the back of your car. So if you're backing up and you want to see what's happening, you can lean a little bit and you will see everything that you need. Okay, now do the same with the right mirror without leaning to the right. Yeah, this is very important. So without leaning to the right, you need to see just a little part of the car, maybe something like this. And then you will also need to center it to see that fence, in my case, and in your case it may be anything else, but some object that is behind your car, right in the center of the mirror, something like this. Don't forget to turn it back to the center. So because if you leave it like that and then you touch this button, this mirror setting will disappear. You will need to set it again. So put it in the center. Now you can see a little part. Let's go in this mirror, a little part on that mirror without leaning. And if you need to see more of the back of your car when you're backing up, you lean and you see much more. You get much more information now, and you can back up safely. Of course, you will be using your camera for that. But anyway, sometimes when you're going to the garage and you need to check if the car goes right into this space of the garage door, you need these mirrors, and you need to see some part of your car, because some people will just set them to look outwards and they don't see the part of their vehicle. And this is bad because you will need to adjust these mirrors every time you back up and go to some tight place, like to the garage or something. Now, if you approach something like a curb, you can use these settings to quickly set the mirror to look down. Let me show you. For example, you're approaching a curb and you don't know if you're going to hit that curb with your wheel or not. You turn to the right mirror and you just press this button to make it lower. And now you can get much more information in terms of what's happening near the wheel, so you will not hit that curb. But after you're done, don't forget to get your settings back. It's very helpful if you have the memory to set, so you will just press the memory button and your mirrors will be set like they were before. Okay, now let's turn to this mirror. This is a mirror that is inside your car, and what you need to remember is that in this mirror you will need to see the maximum size of the back window. A very big mistake is to change your position when you're setting these mirrors. For example, you're sitting like this, but then you want to set this mirror and you go up and you say, oh, that the mirror is okay. And then when you're driving, you're relaxed and you see just nothing in this mirror. So of course you will need to sit just like you're sitting when you're driving and use your hand to set it, something like that. So you need to see the entire window in this. And now when it's like that, you can see that you formed a 360 degrees view, so you see basically everything that's going behind your car. Now, how can you make sure that you have a very small blind zone? Because this blind zone will still exist, but the smaller this blind zone, the better. So you need to sit in your car, look in the mirror, and wait for some other object to overtake you. And once this object disappears in the mirror, it should appear here. You will have just the part of the second time when you don't see this object. That's okay. You will not do anything with that unless you have a very big side mirror. So it's okay. But the smaller this time, the better. If the car disappears in the mirror and doesn't appear here for like half a second, this is a huge blind zone and you're really driving in danger all the time. Now, it's very important to understand how can you check if there is a car in a blind zone. That's very good if you have the blind zone monitoring system, but it's not that helpful and sometimes it's very misleading. So you should always check. Even if the blind zone monitoring doesn't show any vehicles on the road, you should still visually check this, because otherwise you can get in trouble. So when you're driving and you want to change your lane or turn, you press this lever to show your intention, and then you look in the mirror and lean towards your steering wheel a little bit. And then you see what's happening in the blind zone. Absolutely. And then you see what's happening in the window and you see what's happening in the mirror. So there is no blind zone if you do like that. Now, a very big mistake a lot of starter drivers do is like they do like that. They look back, but you see there is a big body part here, and it will still create a huge blind zone, and the car may hide behind this part. This can easily lead to a crash, so you should remember that anyway. The same thing works with the right mirror. You shouldn't just look at it and decide that everything is okay. You should lean a little bit to see more of that blind zone. When you lean, you see absolutely everything, but you still don't lose your contact with the road. Because if you're turning, you're absolutely losing the contact with the road while you're trying to see what's happening there. So even if it's half a second, your car will go like 10 or 15 meters on the highway, and that's enough to create a catastrophic situation. So this is how you can set the mirrors in your vehicle. And now, one very important thing to remember. Now you know that there is a huge blind zone in a lot of cars that have their mirrors setting correctly. And what can you understand from this? Don't go into the blind zones of other cars. This will significantly reduce the risks of car crashes.